Hey everyone, Brian here from Vintage Classic Specialist. Happy Friday, everyone. It is time for another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. So guys, let's see what happened around here today. Why don't we start with this guy here, the white 64 Beetle that came in for an engine upgrade and a transmission rebuild and re-gear and 12-volt conversion. Anyway, if you follow the channel, you know that this car has been plaguing me with oil leaks. One from the, sump plate, specifically the drain plug right here. Has some theories about why it was leaking, one of which is that the threads in the plate itself, the female threads here, are sitting at an angle, and so the drain bolt doesn't sit quite flat and doesn't apply even pressure to the crush washer. I mean, I don't know. It seems a little far-fetched, but I couldn't really think of anything else. Or it could be a problem with the flatness or something of the drain plug itself. I don't really know, guys. I replaced both of these and pretty much sealed it up the same as I had tried with this one, and all I can tell you is now it doesn't leak. So something in this combination was driving me crazy for a couple days, and very frustrating. Anyway, doesn't leak now. And the other one that was leaking was, I think, due to some maybe like not fantastically formed threads on the oil filter adapter, which is mounted up underneath the back fender there. I sealed both the inlet and outlet fittings, brass fittings, exactly the same and everything, and the one which was on the inlet side to the filter leaked pretty mercilessly, and finally pulled it out, as I mentioned yesterday, and sealed it up with Teflon tape. Again, I don't want to hear it. Please move on. And it doesn't leak now. So there you go. Oil leaks have been defeated, finally. Geez, guys. I did also take this car on another, I think like 8-mile drive today around the city of Orange. And yeah, it's doing really well. I did one thing too that the owner had requested, which I think I need to start trying to do, because sometimes Volkswagens do this thing where when you drive them and you get them up to, you know, a full-on operating speed, or operating temperature rather, and then you stop for a few minutes, say to put gas in it, or, you know, you're just running a quick grocery store errand or whatever, that sometimes they're really, really, really hard to start after that. So I took the car again on, like I said, like an 8-mile trip around Orange, and, you know, kind of abused it somewhat, get it up to good operating temperature, and then brought the car back and let it sit for 5 minutes, and then started it pretty easily, actually, guys. So probably try that again and maybe let it sit some different periods of time. But just for starters, I tried 5 minutes because I thought, you know, be equivalent to like maybe stopping at a gas station. But yeah, it started fine. I think I ended up having to like push on the throttle a little bit, but yeah, you know, most of them you have to do a little something like that generally to get them to start. Some of them, even if you do that, or it doesn't matter what you do, you can't get them started. And that was actually one of the issues he was having with this car, with the 40 horse that was in it that was built elsewhere. Was he drove it and got it up to operating temperature, and then it would not start again, and he ended up draining the battery, and I think that was the last straw before he brought the car into us to put in a new motor and convert the car to 12 volts. Anyway, leaks are gone, so whew, thank goodness. And yeah, so far so good on the driving. And the idle is a bit lumpy. Again, it does have a cam in it. It's got a little bit of compression and stuff. So it's not a super smooth idle with a cam going through a small single carburetor, but it idles very, very nice. And I don't think it's going to be, you know, one of those cars that's always like stalling at stoplights or whatever. I may have to set the idle speed a little bit higher than you would with like a totally stock motor, just because, again, the cam is a little bit lumpy, especially through a single carburetor. It definitely affects the idle more than, you know, if you have duals, you can get away with an insane cam and still idle, you know, at a relatively low or reasonable RPM. Anyway, so yeah, some progress on this one. And again, last I talked to the owner, I'm going to keep driving the car, and he's probably going to get it maybe mid or late next week. So I just need to keep putting some miles on it. Still need to do the torture test, so that'll be coming up. So did that kind of at the start of the day. And then pretty much from there, I turned my attention to the Java Green Beetle, which is sitting outside at the moment with our upholstery magician, otherwise known as Santiago, putting a headliner in it. So that's pretty exciting. However, I did work on a bunch of random stuff here, kind of waiting for the chassis to come back. Transmission has already been built for the car, and the rear transmission cradle mount's already been powder coated, and a bunch of stuff's been prepared already. So just kind of going through like bags of parts for that car, seeing especially like chassis and suspension stuff, what needs to be prepared so that when the chassis comes in, then we can pretty much like put the thing together pretty quickly. So for example, here are the rear bearing retainers. So I popped the old seals out of those, cleaned and sandblasted and painted those. So those are ready to go on. Our special weird little bolts for those are here. They were fine. I didn't even bother re-blacking them. I just basically cleaned them up. They look pretty great actually. Some other random front end hardware here, which I blackened most of, and a steering box and pitman arm screw and some stuff like that. More front suspension stuff, steering coupler flanges, those two pieces there, the eccentrics for adjusting camber / caster on the front end there, and the big thick washers that get used with those eccentrics, stuff like that, all painted silver or clear coated. And then finally for the rear suspension, went ahead and blasted and re-blackened the big bolts that hold the transmission cradle, cleaned up the brake tee, stuff like that. So got a bunch of stuff here ready. And then I also placed an order from Wolfsburg West for a bunch of other hardware that for one reason or other I didn't want to reuse, like the long bolts that hold the front beam to the pan head. Went ahead and got new ones of those. Went ahead and got new spring plate retainer hardware, and got tried to order the spring plate bushings from Wolfsburg West, but they were out of. There's two part numbers that get used on the back of these cars. One of them is inner left / outer right, and the other is the opposite. And they were out of one or the other of those, so I will be getting those from our other friends at West Coast Metric. They've got them in stock. So yeah, I've got between this Wolfsburg West order that I placed today and a West Coast Metric order that I'll probably place Monday, should have most of the major components to put that chassis together. Now all we need is for powder coating to finish that thing up, and then Washburns can pick it up and, I don't know, do like a final inspection or whatever, and then bring it back here. So hopefully any days, guys. Now the powder coating shop's been pretty backed up. I think I was supposed to have that chassis a couple weeks ago. It's been a while that I was supposed to have it, but anyway, so it'll be here soon. So I did also work on Big Blue a little bit today, and I installed the new heater cables, which this pair of levers right here actuates those. So those cables run all the way to the back, and you can turn on the left or the right heater box independently of each other. Not really sure why you'd want to do that, but for whatever reason, I guess if you wanted like a little bit of heat but not too much, you could turn on one of those all the way. I don't know. Kind of seems like you would just have one that would control both heater boxes, like on a Beetle or something, or an earlier bus, and you just open it part of the way, but for whatever reason, that's how they did it. So these two here toward the left are for the heater boxes, and then the two levers here to the right open the flaps in the nose of the bus to let fresh air in. So you've kind of got heating and then fresh air. In the case of this bus, of course, it's getting air conditioning, so that'll be controlled through a little panel right here that'll turn on the fan and adjust the, I guess like the duty cycle essentially of the compressor. So yeah, this bus is should be pretty comfortable as far as heating and ventilation and air conditioning. So yeah, I went ahead and did that, and then also went ahead and put back in these hoses now. And so I think the next step up here is probably to connect the dash, the gauge cluster, which is most of these wires kind of hanging out here. And I still need to install the turn signal switch and ignition switch. And then I think once I do all that, I'll probably connect a battery to this thing and test out all the electrical, make sure that's all working and stuff before I, you know, sort of start buttoning up this dash as far as like putting the top on it and stuff like that. So yeah, lots of more work to do on this bus, but at the same time, a lot of the major stuff is done. So it should move along pretty fast at this point. I'm trying to give this bus, make it pretty high on the priority list here to get this thing moving. So the other thing I did, which I guess I can crawl down here and kind of show you, is Jacob and I restored the, it's so dark down here, restored the rear shift rod, which is this one that runs up to the front of the bus. And then there's a shorter one that runs from the front end of that one to the actual shifter. The one that came with this bus was pretty mutilated, so luckily Wolfsburg West makes nice reproductions of those, so that is also on its way. So yeah, shifting on this will be pretty done here soon. Obviously the transmission won't be in for a little while to connect shifting to, but at least the other parts will be there. So I think that's actually it, guys. Body work as usual is going on the 72 Ghia, and also paint stripping and sanding and stuff on the 68 Ghia, the one that is rusted in much the same way that that one was. If you've been around the channel for a while, you remember how bad that car was. Also a 68, the blue one that came in, rusted in almost the exact same areas as that one. So that one's going to be a pretty big challenge, but obviously we're up for it. So I think I will be in for a while tomorrow, guys, Saturday. And if you follow the channel, you know Saturdays usually try to work on my own stuff. I don't even know what I'm going to do tomorrow. Cars are both running pretty good now, so we'll see. I'm sure I'll think of something. Or I might work on a customer car. I don't know. We'll see. But I'll be in for a couple hours one way or the other. So for today, that is it, everyone. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you again soon. Bye.